Hello there, this is Brian Millett, Project Manager for the City of Eureka Community Services Department. Using this to sort of give a broad overview of what CAPE is and sort of the direction we want to go in regards to the nonprofit. And I want to apologize in advance for the sound quality. This mic is very low quality, so you may hear cars driving by or phones ringing or just some weird humming once in a while. So part of the main reason I want to do this, and this will be brief, I promise, once I get past this really long-winded introduction, is because I know there are a lot of nonprofits that are set up similar to what we want to do, or it's like Friends of the Parks or Friends of the Harbor or something for scholarships. But this is definitely we want it to be a foundation type of nonprofit, but it's for a very specific purpose, because we're not looking to just do revenue generation or just do extra money in the general fund or the pot or to do facilities or infrastructure projects. This is very mission based, and so just to give you a quick background, our department, the Community Service Department, we oversee parks, harbor, facilities, the zoo, environmental programs, and recreation. And recreation encompasses a whole wide variety. We have a fitness center, we have youth programs, community classes, special events throughout the year. And one of the things that we wanted to do when I was the rec supervisor before I was project manager, we would interface with a lot of homeless and disadvantaged families who weren't able to take advantage of these programs and services. So we developed this project called the Community Access Project for Eureka, CAPE for shorthand. And the mission of sort of that project is a project of the City of Eureka. This still says Parks and Rec, but it's Community Services now. Department name has changed. It provides access to quality of life programs and services for all members of our community, regardless of their living situation, ability, or income. And how we do that, essentially, we look at it as just a bank account, because it's a donation account that we have. And what's good about the donation account, it rolls over past the fiscal year. And so it essentially just allows our department to partner up with social services, nonprofits, and school districts. And these are the organizations that are directly serving that population in need. These are some of our current partners. We run the gamut of school districts and nonprofits and social services and just all kinds of different agencies currently. And through that donation account with referred individuals and families and kids, we're able to provide scholarships in case they don't have the funding to attend our program. We can just do an automatic approval with the money that we have in that account. We have some bus passes, and we also have a van, so we can also help with transportation. And one of the biggest things that evolved is sort of original programming. A lot of these agencies don't have the capacity that our department staff does, or facilities, to run specific programming that would meet the needs of their clients. We did a program called Pathway to Payday in the past, where it was a job workshop where they learn resume and job seeking skills and mock interviews. And actually, on part of that program, they actually get to do a speed dating interview with real businesses. And we've had a lot of success with that program as well. I think we've had like a 90% success rate for every time we've done it. Programs like Room to Grow, where we can facilitate healthy eating for families living inside like motel settings, healthy options, and it's actually sort of a play workshop with their families. We had Family Nature Club, which took disadvantaged youth up to the zoo, and they did different educational activities each week. Every year we run a holiday event for a couple different, we did Serenity Inn, which is a transitional housing. It's an old hotel, but we've also had big holiday events just for referred kids and foster kids. Rock the Bay, which was just an outdoor, we've done this one a few times for new foster kids at our place, and they have the ability to just have a free day of recreation on the bay. Every year do a costume drive for families who can't afford the ability to get a costume. We've taken some of our community classes directly to the Serenity Inn and other places where there's no transportation or they don't have opportunities for recreation. We have a program called Inclusion Works, and this is for developmentally disabled individuals, and they get to learn sort of like work skills, and they actually end up getting paid for doing beautification projects in Eureka. We have a traveling library, so we can take books to places where there's not access to a traditional library. The cops gave us some money to be able to do an anti-drug PSA, and then we've also done some podcasting classes with some youth. And that's just sort of a handful, a select of some of the programs that we've been able to run. And so the problem with these programs, though, is the needs come up sort of unexpectedly and just as needed, and we're very tight with our normal budget in terms of, we're budgeted throughout the fiscal year for very specific programming. So that's why CAPE sort of became essentially just this bank account, so we have the capacity to be able to offer this programming, the cost of supplies and staffing that are occurred outside of the projected budget for the year. And we've gotten this money because we have a recognition program too, the Eureka League of Heroes, and it's runs a whole long different list of, we've had fundraisers, we've had different bars and different businesses raise money for us. We've also just gotten grants from both PG&E and the police department, and so a lot of it's all come from outside agencies for the most part. The way the finances has worked in the past is because there are really three expenses for when we do these programs: the supplies, scholarships, and staffing. And so with supplies, we're able to just use that line item and directly bill our donation account to pay for supplies. Scholarships, we would, spoiler alert. Scholarships, we would just move money over from the donation account over to whatever that revenue line item would be, covering the cost of whether it's a camp or a program. Staff was a little different because we would just have to front the staff money, and then theoretically at the end of the year we would pay back the general fund and just move that money over. So with the hope and goal is to keep this completely zero cost to the general fund, but by using this other account. So another expansion that we want to do on this, because we're growing pretty fast, I think I included a video in the email that I'm sending to you as well to just show you our new Uplift program, because that's got a lot of different layers to it. But we also, part of the reason we want to do the nonprofit in addition, because we're growing and we do need more money, we would like access to more grant funding that we don't have as a city, is we added provides access to quality of life programs, parks, facilities, and services for all members of our community. And part of that is because, this is one of our beautiful parks here, but it's also in a very, high income neighborhood, and sort of that it's just because this is also one of our parks, Highland Park, and it's a much lower income neighborhood. Just because you live in that neighborhood, you should be able to have access to the same level of quality of park as the other ones do, and also for future things to be able to build inclusive playgrounds and things of that nature. And so that is another big reason that we want to do this. And so, as I was saying, we don't have access to a lot of potential grant funding opportunities. We certainly have the capacity. We've written tons of grants for everything from programs to trails, and right now we're doing a couple facility restoration ones. But because we're a city we don't have access to that money, so we want to sort of turn it into a foundation, and we want to keep using that terminology, foundation. I'm trying to get myself more well-versed in always saying that, because CAPE is still technically a project and a program under our department, but the CAPE Foundation will be money used directly to fund these type of projects with the mission base of providing access to people who don't have access. And the structure we looked at our in-house Zoo Foundation one. There'd be a city liaison, my position, and would work with the board of directors who would oversee the monies that would come in, and then also brainstorm on how we would utilize this funding, and then they could give it to the CAPE project, and it goes to the community services department, and so we can go out and help our partners meet these needs through programming and scholarships and other means. So that's where we are right now. Is I've drafted an MOU, which I've attached in the email as well. It's very preliminary. I used a lot of the Sequoia Park Zoo Foundation as a template, because we would want at some point we'd want staff as well. We'd like to at least start off with one, but I'm not sure we have the money right now to do that. So as we go on, we want staff to be able to, the MOU would specify details of they could lease city space to run their offices out of and those kind of things. And we have selected a board. We've had a sort of preliminary pre-board meeting before, because we don't want to have our official one until we have all our articles drafted up. And so that's where we need your guys' help. We need to draft the articles of incorporation, and just lots of questions. But I wanted you to sort of get an overview of what this program is and what we're thinking and how we want to get there. And so I'm hoping this provided you with a foundation. Sorry for all the ums and the awkwardness. I've never actually given a presentation just to a computer before. So yeah, so feel free to call me, email me back, and I hope this helped provide a sort of a nice overview and get caught up on what we're doing. Thanks.